What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to talk about The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 4, Episode 8, Moms, Missions, and Matrimony. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump right on into it. So we have another Monica episode, and I'm totally here for it. I hope you are as well. We're learning a lot about Monica recently, and I really have to say, because as I mentioned in past video, there have been a lot of people like, oh, Monica's so disrespectful to her mother, blah, blah, blah. But now we're seeing some more context as to why, right? Since the last recap we did, there's also a Real Housewives news and memes video where we touched on a video that Linda or LD that she dropped. So yeah, I'm really here for the Monica stuff. Let me know what you think. And I feel like everyone who was hating on Monica and like, oh, blah, blah, they owe her a big fat apology. So fuck all you guys, not you guys, but you know what I mean? Like, fuck all the guys who like were saying that, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, so we hop in with Whitney. She's at home with Justin, and they're chit-chatting about how she wants to link up with Mary Cosby. And Justin's like, why do you want to meet with Mary Cosby? And she's like, she keeps coming up in my therapy, like in my meditations, like when I'm trying to like heal, she keeps coming up, like our issue keeps coming up. So she reached out to her and asked if she wanted to go to dinner, and Mary agreed. She said something like, oh, like, if I don't feel like going, I'm not gonna go. Like, just kind of like, what's up, but they do wind up meeting up later on. We'll touch on that later. Whitney and Justin then chit-chat about Bobby's upcoming 13th birthday party. And Whitney's like, yeah, we're going to have a party here. It's going to be on her actual birthday, blah, blah, blah. And Justin, who, again, just recently started a new job, he, may still be in the probationary period at this point. You know what I mean? We have no idea in real time. But anyways, so yeah, that's happening. He's like, oh, well, I thought we agreed that we do it the weekend before because I can't be here on her actual birthday. There's something going on at work, and it's like this big event that has to be at, you know what I mean? It's one of those kind of deals. So you're chit-chatting about that, and when he's like, well, that's the same weekend that I have to have an event for this, like some other company she's involved in. So she's like, we have two big events back to back if I do that. It's kind of working it out. And again, it's like, I thought that Whitney was saying that communication is like a strong suit for her and Justin. You know what I mean? And it's like, it doesn't really seem like it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe in theory, but when it gets down to, like, the day-to-day nitty-gritty, it seems like, but, he just went back to work after being, like, a house husband. They're kind of, like, getting used to the new normal, but, yeah, we're seeing some kind of bumps in that aspect. Then we see Heather and Monica. They link up for some snowmobile activities, and it looks so fucking fun. They're just, like, doing their thing. Afterwards, at a little après-ski, if you will, après-ski mobile, they show up at the fireplace, and they discuss their relationships with their mothers. And Heather's like, I was super close to my mother growing up. Like, my mom was like super mom. She was super woman. She showed me everything. And she says it wasn't until she got a divorce that things just really started going south and just continually got worse and worse. Later on, Heather says that they don't talk at all. They haven't spoken for a while. She touched on it, I believe, last season. It's kind of progressively gotten worse and worse as Heather's kind of further strayed from Mormonism, you know what I mean? So touch on that for a bit. And Monica gets really emotional while touching on her own relationship with Linda. And we touched on this in the Real Housewives News and Memes video, because in the preview, Monica was like, my mom, she left me when I was 12 years old with some family in Pennsylvania. She moved to New York City to pursue her dream job. She wanted to be like an actress or something. Things like that. So they touched on that for a bit. They're like, we have more in common than we may have assumed initially, essentially. So Heather and Monica really bond over that. Monica also tells Heather that she's really grateful that she reached out to her, because this is like the day after the Greek Easter event, I believe, or it's like very shortly thereafter. So Monica's like, thank you, I really needed this. I would have just been in bed all day if not, so they're really kind of building a relationship, it seems. We then see John Barlow with Jack, and he's showing him like his mission photo album. I guess John Barlow served like in Vegas for 2 years, like in the Vegas area. So we have these old pictures and whatnot, and John, he reveals that if it weren't for his mission, he may have not met Lisa, because Lisa's sister was also a missionary serving in the same area. And, you know, they wound up dating, John and Lisa's sister. They dated, and at one point, Lisa went out there to, like, visit her sister or whatever. And that's how, you know, John met her or whatever. So it didn't work out between John and Lisa's sister, obviously, but they got together. Lisa suggested her sister was pissed off about it, but, you know, I don't know if she's still mad to the present day or not. Maybe not mad, especially at this fucking point, but, like, that's weird. Is that not weird? Like, you know what I mean? But, I mean, whatever. There's weirder shit when it gets down to it, you know what I mean? But, anyways, Lisa then joins them, and Jack, like, immediately, like, switches up. He gets, like, super short. He's, like, kind of side-eyeing Lisa. But people on Twitter are like, Jack hates Lisa. And people have been saying that, and it's like, you know, he's just at that age. But I think maybe, like, he's kind of going against what Lisa stands for in a way. In terms of the person that she presents herself as, maybe. I'm not sure. In a confessional, Lisa's like, you know, Jack just has no regard for anything I have to say right now. He's just not... He's like just brushing her off like crazy, but he's not doing that to John. So it's like only towards Lisa, it seems. It's not just like the overall teenage, like, fuck the world, you know what I mean? It's like just Lisa, so it's kind of interesting. And yeah, and we also learned that Jack told John about the mission before he told Lisa. So I don't know, girl. I don't know what's up between Jack and Lisa, but yeah, and as John is having, like, a really sweet, supportive moment with Jack, like a really genuine, sweet thing, Lisa interjects shares a story about having a shitty roommate in college who's creepy, kind of telling Jack, like, yeah, you might meet some weird people out there, like, just kind of totally interrupting this sweet, heartfelt moment between, like, the father and son with, like, this goofy-ass story from left field that's about her at the end of the day. So I think that's what it is that irritates Jack, it seems. Anyways, then we see Meredith, Monica, Heather, and Whitney, a good little group dynamic. They link for a cross-country ski excursion, just basically just doing their thing and whatnot. While chilling afterwards, we learn that Monica had to get a new car, rent a new car, excuse me. She rented a new car because her mom confiscated hers. And Monica explains that, you know, she had, like, shitty credit, so... And she pays for her car. She pays everything. But it's in her mother's name, because her mother has better credit. And her mom was like, you have until 4 o'clock to bring in my car, or else I'm going to call the police and say that it's stolen. Like, just threatening her, just being a bitch. And it's like, mind you, Monica has 4 children, 2 of whom are, like, very young, you know? And yeah, there's some reactions and some chit-chat about it. Ladies, like, encourage Monica to really take back control once things calm down. And yeah, Monica, she actually compares her mom to Ted Bundy, because they're like, Heather, I believe it was, she was like, yeah, like, her mom, she's, like, so sweet, blah, 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 because Meredith hasn't met her yet. But yeah, Monica's like, well, yeah, that's how Ted Bundy got him. He seems so charismatic, and bam! So she compares her to him. Heather then mentions that, you know, she isn't talking to her mother at all. Whitney reveals that she hadn't talked to her mom for 13 whole years. And I didn't know this before. Whitney's talked about other family dynamics. She talked about her father. We've seen her father. She hasn't talked about her mother, like, at all, though. That's kind of interesting, especially that Whitney's, like, all our healing journey. Maybe that's, like, just a little too raw of, like, a thing for her to share with us. I'm not sure. I think it's kind of interesting, though. Especially because she's all about healing. It's like, well, why have you talked about the 13-year... Like, that's a long fucking time. A long, like, goddamn, 13 years. So yeah, it's kind of chit-chatting about that. Basically, we all have these mother issues, and coincidentally, Monica, Heather, and Whitney all, like, broke away from the Mormon church. So they're all looking at Meredith like, girl, don't ever leave Judaism, because goodness. And Meredith, she's like, I have plenty of trauma, but I do speak to my mom all the time. Just talking about that. Whitney then invites everyone to Bobby's 13th birthday party, and she then addresses, like, feeling kind of uncomfortable, though, over Meredith's comments about Angie K, because she's like, Angie's gonna be there. I want everyone to bring their families because for her daughter at the end of the day. But she feels she wants Meredith to go, but she wants to have acknowledge the elephant in the room essentially beforehand. And while discussing the subject of friendship, essentially, Meredith says that Whitney didn't check on her for 2 whole days after her car accident, which Whitney coincidentally passed by. Like Whitney literally drove by, saw the car in the embankment, but she didn't know it was Meredith until later on, I guess. And Whitney, she speculates though that Meredith is essentially looking for sympathy by bringing oh, I had this terrible car crash, trying to shut everyone up so they forget about the rumor situation with Angie K. Which is kind of ballsy of Whitney to say. I'm sure Meredith was not pleased with that. Meredith then reassures Whitney that, everything's all good. She isn't wishing harm or ill will towards anyone, including Angie. There's no negativity on her end, essentially. So yeah, we then check in with Miss Angie K, and she has her father over, and he's 84, doing his thing. He looks great for his age. Damn, that sounds so shady, but 84 years old. He looks, honestly, I think he could pass for 72, to be honest. He looks great. I'm not exaggerating, to be honest. He looks fucking great for good for him. You know what I mean? Take care of yourself so you can be on your shit. I mean, it's motivation for my fucking young fat ass. But yeah, Angie has her dad over. They have some wine and cook together. It's really sweet. I feel with how much Aaron on New York City talked about, oh, I come from a big family, we like to cook, blah, blah, blah. We never saw any of that. This is something we needed to see. You know what I mean? We see them in the kitchen, getting down and everything, doing their thing and whatnot. And yeah, we learn about some of the background. She's gushing about her father, essentially, talking about how great he is. And, it's a really sweet moment. Mostly just background stuff, but I enjoyed it. I like the Sun Symbols has filler, but I think it's cute. It's it adds to the lore. You know what I mean? But yeah, and Sean, he's away at the moment. He's Angie says that he's at the salon and he's picking something up, and he'll be home real quickly afterwards. He winds up getting home. He gets chit chats for a moment, but before sitting down to eat with them, because Angie and her dad are still there eating, he's oh, I'm gonna go shower real quick. I'll be right back. And people on Twitter are going crazy with him. I just went to the salon. Why are you taking a shower immediately upon getting home? They're also saying that Angie's father, side-eyed Sean and gave him, the side-eye or whatnot. But it wasn't that bad. When I saw the tweets and shit, I was oh my goodness. But then, when I watched with, a closer eye, I was it's not even that bad. You know what I mean? But, yeah, there's all the speculation. We're running with it. Oh, he's going to go shower to wash the fluids off of him and shit. All gross. The next scene is that dinner between Whitney and Mary. And, as they're sitting down, Whitney acknowledges all different ups and downs that she's had with Mary. And she's at the end of the day, I've seen various different sides of Mary. I've seen all that she has to offer. And just kind of touched on that for a little bit. Whitney, she tells Mary, oh, we miss you at Greek Easter. Mary responds, I didn't miss it. And then cheers, or toast, I guess you would say. And Mary has a smile on her face, kind of being cordial and whatnot. And after a server comes over and spills on Mary's plate a little bit of a snafu about that, Mary says that Whitney severed any future between them. Because Whitney's whole thing is I want to apologize and get to a better place with you and whatnot. And she's well, the way you talked about me just really severed any chance of that. Whitney says that Mary has to own her part, though. And this pisses Mary off, Whitney's rationale is well, you sent those really mean texts to me, and that hurt my feelings. And Mary, she gets ready to leave. She's I'm not having this. I'm not going to sit here and deal with this. And she's you're not going to waste my time. And mind you, they say there's a snowstorm going on right now. So you came all the way down here in the snowstorm to sit down for 10 minutes. Oh, that's funny. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. So yeah, then Whitney says that, oh, Mary, you're allowed to be mean, but like I'm not allowed to be mean back at you. And Mary brings up, girl, you called me and my husband a predator. You don't think that's mean? In the confessional, Mary's like, she's over here complaining about text messages. You called me a predator. What? Like, Whitney, grow up. And she's like, how's that even a comparison? You can't say whatever, just say things that aren't true. Someone's gonna backhand her, and it might be me. Mary then calls Whitney a bobblehead, which we've seen like ad nauseum at this point. Like, bobblehead, it's the new little girl, you know what I mean? She then gets a to-go box. She tells Whitney to enjoy her oysters. She's like, enjoy your oysters, just go slurp them up. Enjoy your busted vaginas, as Candace would call them. Shout out to Candace, Dillard Bassett. Then she storms off, and Whitney acknowledges that, you know, maybe her being friends with Mary is just not in the cards. And it's kind of like, I mean, I think any viewer could have told you that, Whitney, but I guess she's like making the effort, but it's like, you know, Whitney said some like things that really hurt Mary, you know what I mean? And Whitney's all open to talking about what's hurting her and her healing journey, but Mary got hurt as well, you know what I mean? And like, she showed up, you know, she's giving her the opportunity, like she had the decency to show up, but she's like, we're not gonna do this, you know what I mean? Like, Whitney said that, you know, she wanted to take accountability, and Mary's like, you're doing a poor job at it. Because, you know, and it's just not happening between them, at least not at this point. We then see Lisa. She has a party at her house to celebrate Jack getting his mission call. She has all these kids over, like a room full of fucking people, and she's like, hey guys, by a show of hands, how many of you guys knew about Jack's mission before we did? Everyone raises their fucking hand. It's like, oh my goodness. And mind you, it's mostly like who knew before Lisa did, because John knew before Lisa, so Lisa was the last to know, essentially. We then learn that Jack is going to Colombia, and in the confessional, Lisa, she's like, he'll probably get held up at gunpoint at least once or twice. Girl. And it's like, why are you acting like that doesn't happen, like, in America as well? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I'm not saying that like, doesn't happen, that doesn't have a possibility, and not for nothing, like, you know, but why would you, like, mug, like, a Mormon missionary? They're not gonna have, like, money. You get, like, a few bucks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But anyway, she brings that up, and it's just, like, people are really digging into Lisa. They're like, girl, your xenophobia is showing, like, because, again, it's like, why are we acting like we don't have a high crime rate here? Like, yes, that can happen in Salt Lake City, girl. Like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of whatever. She then telling people at the party, oh, I was expecting Europe or like New York or something. And it's like, the world's bigger than that, honey. The world is larger than that. And the last scene of the episode is Monica meeting up with her mother. And they link up at a restaurant, and her mom immediately brings the dramatic. She like immediately starts trying to muster up tears once they sit down and shit. But Monica kind of just ignores it. Like, she's like, you know, as her mom's sitting there, just like fucking trying to like be dramatic and act sad, Monica's like, can I get a straw, please? Like, talking to the servers all normal and shit. Monica tells her mom, you know, you want me to feel bad for you, but when I was crying at Greek Easter, you didn't give a shit. Monica then says that her mom took the side of strangers over her. And Monica accuses her mom of like trying to make her feel bad for her and whatnot. And her mom really lashes out. She's like, I'm sitting here trying to ask you to have a conversation with me. And, you know, they really go back and forth a little bit. Monica's mom is essentially like demanding respect, but Monica's like, you don't treat me with respect, so I ought to give you respect. We're both like, you know what I mean? And Monica's mom, like she said in the previous episode at the senior center, she's like, we are not equal. I'm not your equal. I'm your mother. And it's like, you guys are two adult women. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are more equal than not at this point. You know what I mean? Yes, you are her mother. You guys are two grown-ass adults who have your own opinions. And it sounds like your guys' mother-daughter relationship isn't even that great. So I don't even think you're able to pull the I'm your mother shit, because you don't nurture that relationship, you get me? Like, you can't have the perks of being respected and honored as a mother if you're not gonna act like a mother, is essentially where Monica's coming from. And Linda does not fuck with that. Linda says, oh, at Greek Easter, I tried to pull you aside and reason with you, just like you said you did with Angie in Palm Springs. But Monica's like, I didn't humiliate Angie like you did to me. And they continue going back and forth, and neither of them back down. Linda starts throwing a bit of a tantrum at one point. She's like, I don't care. What do you want from me, Monica? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Just throwing this little fit. And she calls Monica a motherfucker, all these things. And then the server brings the food. And Linda, she's like, look at this pretty dessert. Like, 0.5 seconds afterwards, Monica, that's not a dessert, it's guacamole. What a pretty dessert. That's not a dessert, it's guacamole. It's just like, because Monica's just so over her mom's shit, essentially. Linda asks where this all started, and Monica's like, my childhood? Like, duh, bitch. So then Monica adds that the Easter antics really took her back to that period and essentially re-triggered her abandonment issues. Though Linda says, I didn't abandon you, so they just on that real quickly. Monica says that Linda has her own maternal trauma. She says that her grandmother hated and disliked Linda before abandoning her, and she said that Linda was abandoned by her father as well. Though Linda, she doesn't deny this. She says, I'm over it. She essentially confirms it. Linda's like, I'm over it. But Monica calls bullshit, and she's like, you're treating me the exact same way that you hated being treated by your own mother. In the confessional, Monica provides some context. She says that her grandmother never wanted a daughter. She didn't say she didn't want kids, she said she didn't want a daughter. So they always had a strained relationship, essentially. And she says that her mother is essentially just like continuing this line of resentment with Monica. And she goes off about like how her grandmother was like always disappointed in her mother, essentially. Like she was upset that she got pregnant at a young age, that she never got married, that she left Catholicism for the LDS church, that she moved away from Boston, like all these different things. And she's carrying that resentment over to Monica, and Monica's done with it, essentially. Linda then calls Monica Darnell, and this pisses Monica off. She's like, you haven't called me that name in decades. Like, don't do that. And she says that, Linda's calling her that. She's trying to treat her like that same little girl who she can just ditch to go pursue her dream job. And she also accuses Linda of having her sit in the trunk of a car while she makes out with a man in the back seat. And Linda's like, that happened one time. And she's like, I'm sorry that I kissed a boy in front of you. And Monica's like, it's not about you kissing a boy, it's about the circumstances that I was in. Like, what do you fucking understand? Like, I shouldn't have been, like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you not hear that I was in, like, the trunk of the car, essentially? So, she touches on that. And Linda says that she doesn't give a fuck. And Monica, she's like, I've dealt with emotional and mental abuse forever, and she's really working to break the cycle with her own daughters. Linda straight up tells Monica to get over it, like verbatim, before being like, when am I gonna get forgiven? When are you gonna forgive me? And Monica's like, well, obviously not now, bitch. You just told me to get over it, and you're telling me to forgive you. Like, what? Monica then says, look, I draw a line now that my kids are being affected. And she's like, you took the car when I have 4 children, like we rely on that for transportation, like what's wrong with you? So talk about that. Linda says that I need to go to therapy, and then the meetup ends, and oh my gosh, and like I said, I'm very much like, see, this is why Monica was lashing out. So all the fucking people talking shit about Monica, it's like, see? But I don't know, you guys already know, I like Monica. I'm enjoying the journey. I love getting to know the newbies when they really show up and bring it. You know what I mean? But anyways, let me know what you thought about the episode down in the comments. You should also like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.